About a week ago, the Wall Street Journal ran two articles about lumber prices. In the first, they claimed that lumber prices are now at their highest level in 4 years. And the other expanded on that, saying that lumber prices are surging. So what does this mean for lumber prices and what comes next? Well, let me tell you. In the article, they show this graph of the random length framing lumber composite price. And in that graph, you can see here the huge price increases that took place in 2021 and 2022 during COVID. This was due to a surge in demand because people were taking on more home improvement projects during COVID, and then a restricted supply that was the result of COVID-related mill closures and also transportation and logistics issues. It was a crazy time, and I personally saw 2x4s priced at over $9 a piece, and 4x8 sheets of OSB priced at over $50. I think the highest was $65 a sheet. It was a crazy time. And you can see here that prices have since normalized, apart from the recent spike, which is what the Wall Street Journal is talking about. Here's the problem with this though. What they have here, their graph, doesn't match my data. The data that I use is the Random Lengths lumber futures numbers that are traded on Wall Street. And here's what that graph looks like since 2019, which is the same period as their graph. Now, at first it doesn't look all that different. You can see the huge spikes in 21 and 22, but if you zoom in on the last 4 years, it tells a very different story. First of all, the most recent peak in lumber prices was not the highest in the past 4 years. And while there has been some normal volatility, mainly due to tariff announcements, it has been relatively stable, and we're not seeing the spikes that we saw in the past. Now, on the Wall Street Journal graph, it says that they used Fast Markets as their source. Now, I don't know how Fast Markets compiled their graph and what data they used, and this is not a video about the many methods of gathering data. The point here is that the lumber market is complicated, and there are a lot of different types of lumber, and they can be valued in a lot of different ways. For me as a consumer though, what I care about is what my lumber costs me. And so I also track lumber prices at hardware stores like Lowe's and the Home Depot directly. And I'm going to show you that graph. But before I do, be sure to hit that like button and also leave a comment and let me know where you think prices are headed. Okay, so here is the graph of retail lumber prices going back about 4 years. First for 2x4s and then for OSB. Now in this graph, you can see that there were a few spikes in 22, 23, and 24, but since about mid-2025, prices for both standard 2x4s and OSB have been relatively flat. In fact, the prices for OSB flooring has been stuck at about $24.98 for most of the past year without changing. So the Wall Street Journal's claim that lumber prices are the highest in 4 years doesn't really hold water with me, but they're not entirely wrong about the lumber situation that we're in, and the lumber situation that's built up over the past 4 years, and it's not good. And so we need to talk about what is coming next. But before we get into that, I want to tell you about this video's sponsor, Grüns. All right, so I gotta show you guys something that I've been using lately. This right here is Grüns. And Grüns aren't just a multivitamin, a greens gummy, or a prebiotic. It's all of those things and then some. I started taking Grüns like 6 months before they even reached out to sponsor the channel. And what I like most is how convenient they are. It's just a simple snack pack, one a day, and it feels more like a treat than anything else. It's easy, and you don't need a lot of powder, pills, or mystery blends. And bonus, it tastes great, and it keeps me regular. They're also vegan, nut-free, gluten-free, and dairy-free if you're into that sort of thing. And there are no synthetic sweeteners or dyes, and Grüns have 20 plus vitamins and minerals and over 60 whole food ingredients. There's even a low sugar or sugar-free option, and they're HSA and FSA eligible. And if you've got kids like me, they even make Grüns Kids, which are 21 plus essential vitamins for immunity, brain development, and healthy growth for kids ages 2 through 13. So if you want something that's actually doable every day, use my link and get up to 61% off with free gifts. And thanks to Grüns for sponsoring this video. Now let's get back to it. Okay, so while I may disagree with the Wall Street Journal's premise that lumber prices are at their highest level in 4 years, the article does bring up a lot of other great points that we need to understand and may help predict where lumber prices are headed next. The article discusses a decline of imports due to tariffs, sawmill curtailments and closures, and the declining housing market. Now, I've talked a ton about lumber tariffs in the past, and so I'm not going to bore you with where we currently stand on that. If you want more info, you can check out this video here. I'll also leave a link in the description. Now, I made this video about a month ago, and it talks about where lumber tariffs currently stand. So again, check that out if you want. What I do want to say though, is that the results of lumber tariffs is that less lumber is being imported to the US. And that makes perfect sense. That's basically the whole point of tariffs. We make imported lumber from other countries more expensive so that we import less of it, also that our domestic lumber industry can flourish. As evidence of that, the Wall Street Journal shows this graph, which illustrates that so far this year, we've imported less lumber from Canada than we have in any of the previous 7 years. And most of our imported lumber comes from Canada. Then there are all of the mill closures and curtailments. Now, here is the truth about the lumber business that's important to understand, and that is that it's brutal. It can be feast or famine. Costs like insurance, electricity, equipment, and labor are all going up, but the prices that these mills are getting for their lumber has stagnated. And so there's a lot of mills that just can't exist in that environment of raising costs and flat revenues. In fact, Weyerhaeuser, the largest lumber company in the US, discussed this on a recent investor call. And here's what the CEO had to say.
We've seen a bunch of Canadian capacity come out of the system. I don't anticipate that those mills that have been shut down are going to come back. And so there's a certain amount of volume that's just out of the systems.
Now, he's talking about Canadian mills here, which have definitely been hit hard, but also US mills. Over the past couple of years, around 50 US mills have been shut down, and that reduces capacity and reduces supply. Now, here's the thing though, less supply usually means higher prices unless demand is also lower. And guess what? Demand is lower. Here's a graph of housing starts in the US over the past 7 years, and it's down slightly from the highs in 2022, but there's no crash. What is interesting, however, is this graph of housing completions. There's definitely a downtrend, and then there's this graph of home sizes. In 2019, the median home size was around 2,000 square feet. In 2026, it's about 10% of that at around 1,800 square feet. Also, some people are turning to alternatives. I snapped this picture recently of a home being built here in Texas with steel framing instead of lumber. And so if more homes are built like this with alternative supplies, that will also reduce the demand for lumber. So we are building fewer homes, and those homes are smaller. And there are also a lot of homes being built out of alternatives. And so even though the lumber supply has been restricted, demand has also dropped, meaning that supply and demand are meeting in a place that keeps prices in check. In fact, the CEO of Weyerhaeuser addressed that as well when he said this.
Ultimately, supply and demand balance out. We're going to see either more demand come or more capacity rationalize. And generally speaking, how that works is folks that are a little bit further down on the cost curve are the ones that will ultimately rationalize that capacity.
Okay, so that was admittedly kind of crazy corporate speak that may be hard to understand. But basically what he's saying here is that supply and demand balanced out. And so lumber prices remained flat. And he is saying that either demand will go up, which will increase prices, or it won't, which will put pressure on producers, especially those whose costs are lower. So when he talks about rationalizing the capacity, what he's saying here is that some lumber producers will have to make a decision about whether they can afford to continue producing or whether they have to close up shop. Now, a lot of mills have already closed, and one of the biggest reasons for that is that a lot of the mills that are out there are old and they require updates to equipment, and the ROI, or the return on investment, just isn't there at the current prices. And so mills choose to cut their losses and shut down rather than spend a ton of money to update their mills only to have it not pay off and not be able to recoup those costs. At the end of the day, it's a business decision. So the result of all of this is reduced capacity. And again, if demand stays low and supply and demand are in equilibrium, then prices will also stay relatively close to what they are now. At the end of the day, though, the price of any commodity comes down to supply and demand. The supply of lumber has dropped significantly. That hasn't led to huge price increases because demand, mostly from new home building, has also gone down. And all of that has led to an environment where lumber prices are relatively stable. And if that demand stays low, then there's going to be plenty of supply. And if demand increases slowly, then existing producers will be able to add capacity gradually to meet that demand, and prices won't go crazy. But if there is a housing boom and demand increases quickly like it did during COVID, then there's going to be nowhere near the supply that we need. And prices are going to shoot up maybe even higher than they did back then. But I want to know what you think here. Where do you think lumber prices are headed? Do you think the demand is going to pick up, or do you think we're going to stay steady for a while, or do you think things are going to crash? Leave me a comment and let me know. As always, thanks for watching. Hit that like button, share the video, and I'll see you in the next one.